wouldn't be girl groups without who you are about to meet right now. Allow me to introduce Shelly White Clark, Kathy Merrick, and Wendy Smith, the honeycomb. I am fangirling out right now. I want you to know this. This is awesome to me. This is absolutely awesome. It is such an honor to have each of you here. And I am, when I said that there would be no female empowerment groups, when you guys have lyrics, and I wrote down some of my favorite lyrics.
Uh-oh.
Yes, baby. Yes, baby. My love, while you are out looking for sugar, somebody is going to take your honey and be gone. Do you hear that, man? Do you hear that, man? They just told us that this is spitting some truth right here. Yeah, with the neck and all of that. Then one monkey. Don't stop no show. Don't stop no show.
That's right.
If you don't want to go, there are a lot of guys out there who would love to play your role. When I tell you, it doesn't get any better than that. You can get, if you don't love me, you can go. Bye. There's another one out there. Bye. Bye.
Bye. That's part of our choreography.
That's right. That's right. Bye. But don't let the door hit you on the way out. Don't let it hit you on the way out. I am so happy to have each of you here. This is an honor. And I will say that we are missing one of our lovelies, Miss Edna Wright. I have known Edna since I was 12 years old when I started singing with Andre and Sandra Crouch. Mm-hmm. And I had no idea. That's the best part about it. I had no idea that she was in the group singing the songs that I would love to listen to, that I grew up listening to. And I had a list of everyone. When I started this platform, I had a list of everyone that I wanted to interview. And you guys are on that list. Oh. And I have to shout out Melody, Edna's daughter. This is just, this is everything to me. So let's begin our talk with these beautiful women. The Honeycombs began. I want to hear the story of Miss Shelly. You were one of the founding members, and I want to hear the story of how the Honeycombs came about.
I was in a group with the sought-after soprano Carolyn Willis. Mm-hmm. And our group was with a legendary LA singer named Shirley Matthews. Uh-huh. If you Google her, you won't be able to read everything about Shirley. She put a group together and called it Willis, Matthews, and Clark. Mm-hmm. And we were just performing around LA doing sessions, for different producers and performing. And unbeknownst to me, Carolyn was also doing sessions with Edna, who I didn't know. Uh-huh. And so when the time presented itself, just long story short, Edna's sister, of course, we all know is Darlene Love. So when Darlene Love, the Blossoms did everything under the sun. Mm-hmm. They were triple booked all the time. Yeah. So a show came to them that they were unable to do. And it was the Andy Williams special featuring Burt Bacharach, Dionne Warwick, some other, and they needed a group to sing behind everybody. Andy Williams, Dionne, and I forget who else was on the show. So Edna called Carolyn and said, my sister can't do the Andy Williams special. Will you do it with me? And she said, yes. And Edna said, well, can you find one more girl? Otherwise, we can use someone I know. And Carolyn said, no, I'm already singing with a girl. Let me bring her name is Shelly. So I met Edna on the set of the Andy Williams special. And I didn't know that Edward Holland was watching us that evening at the urging of Edna to, they wanted to sign her as a solo, and she didn't want to be a solo. So she said, I want to be in a group. If you like the group you see on TV tonight, Eddie and Brian, let me know and you can sign me with them. So that's how it happened. And I didn't know that he was watching. All I knew was that it was a gig, It was great. Andy Williams is an amazing. I just watched. It's on YouTube. I just watched the other day.
Right.
It's amazing, and I said, "Wow, look at us with our young selves there." But then that's how we were formed. Edward said, "I love this group. Y'all come to Detroit." They went. I was a bit of a holdout, but they wore me down, and eventually I went to Detroit finals.
And then from there, and you guys, you had the chart-topping hits. The first one was While You Were Out Looking for Sugar.
Right.
This is my motto. While you were out looking for sugar. So now, who wrote that?
Our songwriters ranged from Greg Perry, which of course was Edna's boyfriend at the time. Angelo Bond, which was a little Prince-looking guy. He did a lot of the lyrics. General Johnson, who of course is with the chairman of the board, they made groups.
Right.
And we had Ronald Dunbar. We had they were young writers, which is why they would have these innovative lyrics. All of our songs are sort of in your face.
Right. That's what I love about it.
Think about it. I don't know that we have one. Yeah, I guess we do have a few that talk about, we're in love and positivity. Most of them are telling, the men. And I think these writers were saying, if I was a woman and I had a message, what would I say? So they were thinking for women at the time. And I think that's why, Juan, all those records were such big hits because they were great songwriters and they thought ahead. They were ahead of themselves and they were young too. They weren't afraid to take chances.
Right. And that is interesting because when I had read that, the songwriters were men. And I was like, that's so interesting to have the lyrics and they relate to every year, every woman, every person who was in a relationship was like that. So to find out that these were men who already, so they know what women are looking for, okay?
and they were younger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think any of them were in their 40s. They were all 30s and 20s. And probably Edward and Brian may have been the most senior age-wise, the owners, and Lamont Dozier. They may have been the oldest.
Yeah, the Holland Dozier Holland. That is awesome. And you guys were on Hot Wax Records.
Ain't that something? And then our sister label, of course, was Invictus, and I believe it was Frida Payne over there, which we knew casually. Her sister, Sherry Payne, was there. Sherry was with the Glass House. 100 Proof was there. Chairman of the board was there. The Flaming Embers, these white boys that could sing you under the table.
Yep.
They were the first sort of average white band. They were great. We also had Laura Lee.
Really?
A singer. Yep. We had her. We had and for a while we had George Clinton and the Parliament Funkadelic.
Whoa! Do you know? I was stunned to find out that George Clinton, him and the Pompadour, because we're so used to seeing him with the dreads and the multicolored dreads and doing the funk music, to find out that he was really singing and with a quartet, if I'm not mistaken. And I saw pictures of him from that time, and I was just amazed. I'm like, how did this happen? So
he wrote a song Undercover. We're not supposed to know it was from him, but he wrote a song that the Angels hear love called When Will It End? And he inspired that song. And Sitting on a Time Bomb. And so we were thinking of putting Sitting on a Time Bomb in our show because
that would be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Now take me through. I want to hear how, because you from how you met Miss Kathy and Miss Wendy. I want to hear how, because I know that when Miss Carolyn left the group, and so you went through that change,
right?
And then you met the two newest members. So I want to hear about that.
We tried to reunite again. with Edna and her daughter, as you know, Melody, and we were able to do maybe 5, 6, 7 engagements, one being the Soul Train cruise. And when we came back, I just felt that we needed a fresher. I felt like I needed a fresher type of situation to be in. Mm-hmm. So I gradually left that situation, but I told Kathy, well, I'll let Kathy tell it because
Kathy, come on now.
We were at dinner.
Shelly and Berdine were having a birthday dinner because their birthdays are a couple of days apart.
Right. One day.
Right. So we were at dinner, and I was sitting next to Shelly, and we just started talking, and she said casually, "We should put a group together." I said, "Okay." She said, "No, I'm serious." I said, "Me too." So the next day, she called me and said, "Hey, do you know anybody?" And I said, "As a matter of fact, I do." I was on the road in New Zealand, and Wendy happened to be in New Zealand with the Glenn Miller Band the day before the gig that I did there. And she left us a note. So she was fresh on my mind. Shelly said, "You know any girls?" I said, "Yes, I have the perfect girl for you."
Uh-huh.
We all met for lunch to talk about it, and we clicked.
Absolutely amazing. And let me tell you something, Miss Kathy. Now, aren't you Miss ballet dancer, Miss DC?
Yeah,
Come on now. Okay.
Look, I'm from a musical family, and I love music, and I call myself a closet singer.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I started off at 8 as a dancer, and I studied dance for years. But in the interim, I'd say around 15 or 14, my teacher heard me singing, and she would do these musicals every Christmas. Mm-hmm. And so she ended up giving me a lead part. And from that, my mom found out I could sing.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. I had no idea.
Oh. Wait, were you hiding in the closet singing?
To sing. They had jam sessions downstairs in the den, and my brother, he was a guitar player, and my mom sang. So she was a singer, so she had all of us singing, but couldn't get me to sing. I would just sit there and listen.
Oh my!
Go upstairs in my bedroom, close the door. That's when
Wait, you know who was like that? I'm hearing recently was Frida Payne. Remember on the show that day? Her sister Sherry gave up all that information, and she said that Rita would go behind the curtain and hide, and she wouldn't sing, and she would hide behind the curtain. And Sherry said, "I'd be out there singing, and then come on, Frida, no, hide behind the curtain." So she's but then like you, Kathy, when they when she felt she could sing and be comfortable, then you couldn't shut her up,
Late. I was totally late.
And then how did you get to be, from that, being afraid to perform to Miss DC?
Well, it's funny because my dance teacher, Laverne Reed, he had a lot of influence in the city. He worked for the Department of Recreation, mm-hmm. and which is, government city. And the mayor, he would have us do these shows every year. And also every summer we would dance throughout the city. Well, we were sort of well-known dance company, and the pageant contacted Laverne and asked her if she would be the choreographer. So when she got involved, she said, "You know what, Kathy, you should do this." And of course I was like, no way. But all my girls, my dance sisters, they were backing me and said, "You should really do this." So I said, "Okay." Because they were going to be there. They were going to be part of the entertainment.
Okay.
So they were the opening. The dancers were the opening.
Okay.
So they were with me. So I felt comfortable doing it. Mm-hmm. Didn't think I was going to win. Didn't even care I mean, you know, I wasn't really thinking that way. I said, okay,
Right.
it'll be an experience. And when I did, but let me go back. I forgot about this. You know, and as we do these things, I remember things that I just totally, I was in a pageant when I was 13, Miss DC Teenage Pageant. And I forgot how I got involved with that. But me and my girlfriend, and I met this one other girl that to this day I'm still friends with her. But I did that. I lost. So I was like, you know.
Wait a minute, you lost?
I mean, you know, I didn't play. So it was chalked up as an experience.
Mm-hmm.
But during that time, I was asked a question and I froze. So when the other pageant came around, I was petrified of the question. Because, you know, I had that bad experience. So I really didn't want to be in pageants anymore. But because they pushed me and urged me to do it.
Right.
But during the pageant, they asked a question, but they asked me the wrong question. They were supposed to ask me about music and ask me about business. So I corrected them, which I guess came off as confident.
Right. You stood up for yourself. Hey, come on now.
Between that and my piece, I won.
There you go. Okay. And what was it like when you heard your name being announced as the winner?
Oh, I was flabbergasted. I was surprised.
Miss Closet Singer, Miss Afraid to Win, now is known as you are representing DC. You are most beautiful of DC. Come on now. Okay.
Funny thing is, my boyfriend was in the audience, so I felt like, yeah, okay.
That's right. I'm officially the prize. You officially are the prize. Come on now. That is awesome. Now, Miss Wendy, Miss violinist, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
I am
sitting here listening to all of this stuff. There are little things that I hadn't heard before, you know, so it's always good. There's a lot of stories between the three of us. Like, what? You didn't tell me that, girl. But everything is good. I'm well, thank you.
I'm so excited. You are truly, the three of you are truly one of the best looking groups I have ever seen. Oh my God. I mean, hats off to you.
Thank you.
Said, whatever you guys are doing, please sing.
Now, well, you know, I thought there was a time I know Kathy from way back, and I remember seeing her for the first time, and I can't remember where we met Kathy. I wish I could remember that. But I promise you, when I saw her, I said, she has got to be the most beautiful woman I have ever seen. Stunning, stunning. And just as beautiful inside as she is out. And she still is. I mean, look at her. So, Miss DC.
Yeah, that's right.
Wonderful.
Now, you were a Raylette. You sang with Ray Charles.
I did. Yeah, I was a Raylette, but I didn't let Ray.
No, let me tell you guys something. Doing this, and and all my, like I said, I've been doing, I've been singing, and it's so funny, Miss Kathy. I'm a closet singer as well. I have stage fright. I'm terrified, but you get me if I'm around someone that I really know, and we're just grooving and singing along. I hit the notes, and sometimes I surprise myself, like, oh, I didn't know that was in me, So it's hilarious to know. But I have, like I said, I'm a fangirl, and I'm music. Music is in my blood. So I have, I've been around. Not been around in that sense, but I have been around a lot of artists, and I have heard and seen a lot of things. And there are some interviews that I have to edit because I get to talking with people who I really know, and we get to sharing them stories, and I go like, ooh, I can't let that be known. So I know you have some stories, Miss Wendy. So when you said about the Raylettes, I already know. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. I remember the first. I thought this can't be happening, but it was one of the first gigs that I had, and I think we were up near San Francisco or someplace, and it was an old theater. I wish I could remember it, but it was an old theater up there. And we're standing back, Ray would sit, stage right. And what was he? He would be over there. And so the Raylets would stand a little further back. And so whenever he would start, I Can't Stop Loving You. Mm-hmm. We were supposed to walk up, take like about 3 steps up to the microphone. We all 2 of microphones with 5 girls. We were like, had to get in there, right? Mm-hmm. So we're standing back here. We had our gowns, our little spiky heels. And so the part was coming up where we had to move. And I went to move my foot, just to get ready to move. And Stella, which was the main head Raylet in charge, mm-hmm. I said, Stella, my shoe is stuck in the crack. and she said, step out of it. So I stepped out of it and walked up just in time. I left that shoe back there. I don't know if anybody saw it or not. Thank God for gowns, right? But I stepped out of it and I stayed tippy-toe on that one shoe. I know. And sung I Can't Stop Loving You with one shoe on. I said, I don't know. This is the beginning of something crazy. It was. It was the best, worst gig of my life. I'll say it like that. And I'd do it again. I really would. I would do it all over again.
And aside from the Raylets, I know that you were with the Glenn Miller Orchestra as well.
Yes, I was.
Please share that experience.
Wow. I played in big bands for a while, these casual offices. Whenever they'd have an orchestra or something and they had a big band needed for any type of gig, most times they would call me. And it was because the guy that had all of the charts would show up with the charts for these bands. So he'd say, I really, really like your voice. He used to compare me to Karen Carpenter. He says, your voice is really pure and just, not too anything, because I didn't start out as a singer either. So I just would sing the melody and no tricks. I couldn't do that stuff, and so they would call me, and then he said that he had just acquired the okay from the Glenn Miller estate to start a West Coast chapter. They already had an East Coast chapter, and so he started the West Coast chapter and asked me if I would be interested. And I thought, yeah. So the East Coast chapter is based in Florida, and they do the road trip across the USA. The West Coast would always do international. So I was like, yes, I am available. So we did that for about 15 years, and I was the first Black person to be on that stage with Glenn Miller Orchestra. So that is
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And you were also in a group called Harmony, correct?
Yes. How'd you know that? You know my life. Yeah. Harmony is a group of amazing women. I love them. They're 2 of my best friends, Teresa Walker and Sydney Davis. And we started out singing the sounds of the Marvelettes. Then I just answered an ad in the Music Connection in LA. And, I'm thinking, I don't know, I need to work. So let me see what's in here. And I went and auditioned, and I had my Converse All-Stars on and, my jeans. And I went in there, and I was so green. I went in, and they were dolled up, and, I thought that's my first lesson. Show up looking sharp. And I just had on jeans and a t-shirt and stuff. But I got the part because I don't know, I guess they saw something in me. The company that was hiring this group. And so we became good friends, and then we just started doing a lot of session work, did a lot of stuff for Ray Parker. back when he had his studio, American, I think it was, out in North Hollywood. We used to do a lot of sessions for him, connected through one of the Dozier brothers, Reggie Dozier, who is a brother of Lamont. And then from that, I started getting sessions for Lamont, doing voiceovers for him. But Sydney and Teresa and I, we called ourselves Harmony, and we just did a whole bunch of casuals in town. We toured Asia, that sort of stuff with John Daniels from Mavericks Black. Again, they're just two of my best friends, and I feel like I learned to sing being close to them.
Really?
So, yeah.
That's a great...
Because I wasn't singing before, yeah. I never sung before them.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that something? And then now see that you each one of you, like Miss Kathy said, that, you were a closet singer. And Miss Wendy, you were afraid to sing. And then you get with Miss Shelly, and then you become the honeycomb.
Well, I've never been afraid. I don't know. I just didn't think I would be singing because I moved to LA as a flautist. I went to be in the orchestras there, and I wasn't ever going to sing. That wasn't my thing. I didn't know that I could. But, I met these women and I started singing, and I don't know, just learned to stand on my 2 feet with being able to solo on my own and got that confidence. So then I met these two women, and yay, here we are.
Before that, wait a minute, let's go back a little bit as well. You also were the recipient of 2 NAACP awards.
Yeah, you do know some stuff. Yeah. Well, that was most recent. What was it? I want to say a little over a year ago, was it? Oh, this COVID messed my timing up.
I know.
I should know this by heart, but I don't know. I like to do. I like to offer my services, if you will, musically to children, whatever I can do. If somebody calls me to do something, I'm not going to ask for money to do something for children, or for the elderly, or if somebody, I'm that girl, call me and I will, that's my tithe, if you will. All I can say is somebody noticed, and I was offered that award for giving. So.
As well as you should have been offered that award. That's amazing. You won that award fair and square. Come on now. It was
thank you.
Earnestly. So hats off to you. Miss Kathy, this is something I've been dying to ask you. The little girl in me had a crush on Mr. Tom Jones.
Oh, well, I never sang for Tom Jones, but I sang on his albums. Never met him. I would die too if I had met him. My mother was a huge Tom Jones fan, so Tom Jones was always played in our house. But I got to sing on his album, but I never met him, never toured with him. I know that there's some information out in the internet world.
Right.
Yeah, but that's misinformation.
Okay, but I do know you toured with Scary.
Yes, and that it was the Tom Jones recordings that got us that job, because the guy who was producing the record, heard us sing. We sang on 2 of the songs, and he called Boz and he said, "Hey, I found the 2 girls you need," because he was on hiatus for a minute.
Boz. Yeah. Oh my goodness.
He was trying to put his band together, and so this producer said, "Hey, I got the 2 girls." So we went, didn't have to audition, we just got the gig. And not ironically, but I was pregnant.
Really?
And I never told him. I was 4 months pregnant. I didn't tell him because I really needed the job, and I had to pay my rent.
Right.
I told him I knew he wasn't going to hire me.
Really?
I feel kind of guilty for doing that, because it sort of disingenuous, but you know, I
That's a job, and you need it, and you were there when you were supposed to be, because
right.
you were also a member of Shades of Lace.
Well, that was after Shades of Lace that we did Boz. Lost our record deal. We ended up working with different artists. We toured with Johnny Gill, and I ended up working with James Ingram and
Oh yeah,
Boz.
Sheena Easton.
Never worked with Sheena Easton. That's Wendy.
That's another. Oh, that's right. Okay, I'm sorry. And then from there, how did you meet Miss Shelly to become a part of Honeycomb?
Well, my husband became a member of Earth, Wind & Fire. So naturally, you know, I'd see, I call it Earth, Wind & Fire family.
Right.
Even, you know, whenever they're working close by, if they're in LA or Vegas, every place except for the East Coast, I'd try to come out to the gigs. And of course, Shelly's always there with Verdine. So,
right.
Clicking and bonding, and the dinner happened, and that's how we.
Right, that's right. And then Miss Shelly, now you were a child star. I mean, you were a child performer. You and your brother Ilya.
Ooh, you said his name right. Oh, that was for you.
Oh my goodness, that was going to be my son was going to be named Ilya, but I chose Christian instead. So I love the name.
Okay, but why Ilya?
It was a name, the man from Uncle. Remember I was a latchkey kid. That's all. I had music, television, and so and I watched all those shows, and so that was the name. So
Ilya Kuryakin.
Yes.
But my mother, it was a Russian Jew, and pretty much sort of like a communist. Mm-hmm. And one of her heroes and in a way literature mentor was Ilya Ehrenberg, a Russian Jew who was a communist who wrote poems and lots of different works, documentaries, that kind of thing. And she was basically in love with his style of writing. And it was a very different name at the time, because what black kids are going to be named Ilya anything, or I couldn't even say it. Neither could any of his roommates. I used to call him Yuya when I was little. And eventually he got tired of people mispronouncing, or, you know, the teacher, hello, is Isla here? Is where is she? And that kind of thing. He was like, no more. He changed it for a short period to Eddie. Like my father. My father was Eddie, so he took they started Eddie Jr. Mm-hmm. But then as he got older, he realized what a cool name Ilya was, and he changed back to Ilya again. A lot of people were still calling him Eddie, and he then had to correct. But Eddie, Ilya's a real cool name. I've always liked it.
Yes, it really is. And you were the Cotton Club Review, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. We it was a great show. I mean, I think they found me from being on Broadway, and I went to audition, and they loved me, and they told my father, we love her, and the person who didn't love me was Cab Calloway, and
really
pitched a bitch and said, no, I want my daughter to have it. And she was like a lightweight singer, but she couldn't really stay on key, and she wasn't the dancer that they wanted, because the guy that was producing this, named Clarence, I forget his last name, but he was doing all the stuff back in the day. You've seen those black and white movies with the Nicholas brothers.
Right.
And I mean, this guy was heavy duty, so he knew what he was looking for. Mm-hmm. So I had to sing and dance and act and passed every test. And so they told Cab, and they didn't, mince any bones with him. They said, no, we're not going to do that. We're hiring this little girl. And so what happened was Cab, who people know is a tremendous drinker and an alcoholic, was angry every day when I was on tour with him for 7 months. I mean, he would do nasty things like bump into me as we crossed each other. backstage or something like that. And then at one point, it got really bad. I did like a number in the middle and a closing number with him, and he figured he would fix me. And he took the microphone cord and pretended he was playing a game, and he was really trying to wrap it around my feet so that I would trip and fall on stage. And I said, I got to deal with all this at 7 years old. You guys, come on. Get this guy away from me. So I would come off stage and tell my mother, they would take turns coming out to the road. Sometimes it was her, then they would switch to make sure I got enough time with each parent. And then the other would go be with my brother who was doing movies. But so Cav was just the meanest thing under the sun. And I think toward the very end of the tour, he started to try to get nice. But by then I was terrified of him. And tried to stay out of his way. And that was my experience with touring 7 months with this guy that wanted to take my head off. And people would say, "Oh, she's so cute. Is she your daughter?" And so a lot of times I would try to appease him, and I go, "Yes." Hi, Daddy. Yes.
Wow, I didn't know any of this stuff, Shelly. Wow.
Girl, the things you deal with. And then, of course, it was the chorus girls. And these women were out there on the road 7 months with nobody. They didn't have, a lot of them didn't have kids because when you're working, you know what that's like. And they couldn't keep a boyfriend, so they were lonely in that respect. So all of a sudden, a little girl is on tour, and each one of them wanted to adopt me or wanted me to be. And so backstage, they would have these horrible cat fights. Like, really? Oh, like, and then finally, this one that was like a little mentor to me, and her name was Dee. And she came to me and she said, "Shelly, I hate to lay this on you, but if you want to get along with all of us, you have to make sure when you come backstage, you spend a little time." I mean, it was like 20 of them. A little time with each one of us. Sit down and say, "Hi, Florence. Hi, how are you?" Blah, blah, blah. No. Go and sit with the next one. These girls were trying to scratch each other's eyes out because of me. And so I understood, I didn't understand everything, but I understood the psyche, that they were lonely, that they wanted a child, that they found, solace in a little girl who, could have been theirs or something like that. So I learned real quick the ways of the world. And
so you went from Mr. Mean Old Man to the women. Everybody was wanting the piece of you, and you haven't made it to 10 yet. So
I'm like 7, 8 years old, but I figured it out because when you're that young and you just want things to go right, you think fast and you think on your feet. Because I had a father who was the original Joe Jackson, and he was not. You could not play with him. Okay, he was straight out of the West Indies. Yeah, he could dance, act, whistle, sing. He could do all that stuff. So he would not take half-assing what he gave you to do. And so I noticed every time he came out on the road, my whole routine would be changed around because he would say, "You're not doing enough. Come back, come on, we're going to change your routine." So then Cab would be mad at that because he was thinking, this little girl's trying to upstage me. Real. And so,
oh my Lord. That was traumatizing.
Yes, it was. People wonder why I'm half crazy today.
Shelly.
Still, look, you got to learn it. And, a real performer, you just figure it out.
Right.
That's all any of us do.
Right.
We had to just figure it out. I mean, this industry is the best and the worst.
Yes.
All at the same time.
Yes.
And so you can't get too comfortable. I mean, my mother was a Russian Jew, but she did tell me, it's great you can sing and dance, but damn it, you better think of some other things that you can do in addition to all that. So when I got to school, I learned how to type. I learned dictation. I learned everything. You just aren't sure. Right. I had a long hiatus after Honeycomb that I couldn't get something steady. So, I mean, I just went to work with whoever. I worked for Eddie Murphy. I started a management company. I just did outside stuff in addition to singing, which, you know, helped me with
pay the bill. And it's funny,
the bills.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I work in the legal profession, and I always, I worked in entertainment law, and a lot of actresses, especially women of color, who, if they, the roles were small from the 80s to the 90s, they were very limited. And so a lot of my co-workers were also actresses. And it would be amazing because, especially, like I told you, I was a latchkey kid. So I grew up watching Starsky and Hutch, and The Edge of Night, the soap operas and all of these, shows. And my coworkers would be in those shows. Charlie's Angels, all of those, Dallas, Knots Landing, all of these shows, my coworkers would be in these shows and we would be talking about it. And I learned it because, I would go, most of my friends were, since I did work in entertainment, most of my friends were in entertainment, but during all that, when they weren't working on films or doing albums or whatever, they had to work. So I'm glad to hear you say that, Michelle, because that is the God's honest truth. Yes. Right? It's the God's honest truth. You had to work. Right? And what's your work, Michelle? You were an ICAC, weren't you?
Yes. Yes.
Ma'am. I want to hear about that.
Yes, that was interesting. Somehow or another, a woman named Ann Kane found me when I was like right out of high school. And at the time she was married to Otis Williams of the Temptations, which I didn't know all of that then. But she auditioned me in my home, my apartment, and she said, "Oh, you're great. You'll do great." And I said, "Okay, when do I fly out?" And she said, "Tomorrow morning." I said, "Whoa!" And so, I was excited. I flew out. I landed, checked in. All of a sudden, there's a knock at the door, bang at the door, and I open the door. There's Ike, and I just came to welcome you. I can't, blah blah blah. And I said, "Oh, thank you." And he had all his bags with him. I said, "What are you doing with all those bags?" He said, "I'm spending the night here." Outside? Yeah. Wait, what? And I said, in my 18-year-old naive self, I said, "But aren't you married to Tina?" And he said, "Yeah, that ain't nothing. I'm staying here tonight." I said, "Look, they didn't tell me about this part." So right in front of him, I started packing. And I said, "I guess, that's my ICAC days are over." And so he got scared. And because they know that they needed somebody because they had a show. And so I guess he left me alone because he said, "Oh boy, I'm about to mess this up." And then we got to send for somebody. So I lucked out in that respect. He said, "Yeah, you're just a baby." And baby. And I guess he's trying to,
make it right in his mind. Make himself feel better about you.
I said, "Okay, I'm the baby then." Okay, fine. So he left. And the next day I saw, I went into, I was going down to rehearsal. The elevator opened up. It was stepped in. There's Tina. And she said, "Oh, I've heard a lot about you." And I guess I maybe told her. I approached this one girl and she didn't cooperate. But I think Tina liked that.
Right.
And so she said, "What sign are you?" And I said, "I'm a Leo." And she said, "Oh, that's great. We're going to get along fine." And we did from that time on. We went down to rehearsal. I had on all the wrong stuff. I didn't realize that their rehearsals were fast and furious and it's hot in there. I think I had on, it was cold. So I had on some wool clothing. I don't know what I had on, but I don't know. I learned the steps really quickly. She was happy about that. She made me stand next to her. We had the energy going on that side of the stage. And the ICATS at that time was a girl named Cheryl Williams, and of course Ann Thomas, who went on to marry Ike later on after Tina left him. And they had a daughter together. And at the time, she was Tina's. They were always together. They were like sister wives. And she was the sweetest girl Aunt Thomas, we call her Tomez. She's the sweetest girl on the planet, and pretty as a bear's long, half Filipino, some black, and some other, I don't know, but she took her hair out of the braids, and it was, out of the wig, and the braids would fall, and she had the most beautiful hair. And I would ask her, why do you wear wigs? It was just so outrageous to me. Because I was the only ICAT in the history of ICATs that didn't wear a wig. And I said, oh boy, Tina's going to try to make me wear a wig. And she never did, because I had that kind of hair. I would only get in trouble if it got maybe a little frizzy or bushy, and we would get fined if we didn't shake our hair enough. You know how
really?
All of that, had to copy what she did. And we get a and we get a $5 fine if we didn't shake our hair enough and didn't and had runs in the stocking or missed a step on no. And I think that was Ike's way of taking his money back once he gave it to you. Yeah, so he could save money by telling you at the end of the week you got a fine for the stocking, a fine for the, and I would try to get all the steps right and say, oh, he turned around. That's good. He didn't see me miss that step. As soon as we got off stage, this fool had eyes in the back of his head. He said, I saw that. You see that movie when Angela Bassett and they he said,
James Brown would do that too, huh?
Right, you would, right? $5.
James Brown would do that too?
Yeah, he must have gotten it from Ike.
Yeah.
What? No, you got to tell that story. Come on now. You can't just be that out there hanging.
Well, I've never worked with James Brown, but his history and the movie.
All the movies have it in there.
Yes, the $5 rule.
The $5 rule. And can you imagine? We don't wear stockings like that anymore because, the times have changed. But then we had to hit the stage with stockings, and something's going to run because you saw those routines,
right.
And so my whole thing, I used to get fined. I'm sorry.
Oh, this is classic. I love this.
I think I used to get
so busted. I'm so busted right now.
I'm busted. I used to get fined mostly for missing a step here and there because I would try to interject my own choreography because I thought I was good like that. But you had to do what Tina was doing. And so,
who did the choreography for the ICAT?
Mostly the ICATs.
Okay.
And if we had an idea, Tina would start off, in the beginning, they were mesmerized a little bit with karate. And, those moves that they do. All of that stuff. And so a lot of those moves came from martial arts. And, of course, Tina in later years went off to become a Buddhist. And, that energy and that chanting sort of saved her from the life.
Yes.
The life that she had. So,
right. Now, tell me that I read this correctly. Did you sing with Tom Jones?
I did not sing. I think I did backup the same. I did backup for Tom Jones. Some records and things like that. But I got to tell you, one time, this is the story for everybody. Verdine, and maybe it was Maurice and Marilyn, when his brother was alive. We all said, let's go see Tom Jones. I forgot why, but maybe they gave us tickets or something like that. And we go, and it's downtown, nice.
I forgot why.
Yeah. Why would you go see? Yeah, he's a good performer, but Verdine wouldn't be into him. Yeah. But we did go, and all of a sudden, this guy comes out on stage, and he's Verdine's color, and he's got a big afro on. I said, who's this guy opening up for Tom Jones? And Verdine said, I don't know, maybe some newcomer. And so, girl, do you know that was Tom Jones? And his skin was so dark, and his hair was big. great album. And we didn't know until we started singing What's New Pussycat? We said, oh God, it's time to go. I looked at Brittany and I said, what in the world? He's black now.
So it was before, it was during his early times?
Yeah, but somewhere along the line, he transitioned into a black person. I couldn't believe it. None of us could. Maurice's mouth was open like a gate. All of us going, that's Tom. We thought it was somebody to come and open the show for him.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't know now. I think he may be a little lighter now. But in that period, whatever period that was, he was going through, he was a black man. He was not
man. Okay. Somebody needed to go talk because he needs to do one of them ancestry. Because
Wendy, what do we know?
Okay.
What do we know?
Okay. Now so I want to go back to the group, the female empowerment of the songs, because I know that your album, Take Me With You, that epitomizes that whole album and the song were straight late 60s, 70s. Because you guys performed Aquarius, and all of those songs, and The Son of a Preacher Man. Oh my God, I love that. And I mean, that whole album, I was listening to it, and that whole album just gave me that, that funky little groove, that you don't have now. We have all the, dancing songs, that just get you to go, hey, with the hair. And you want to do the I can't do songs, the I can't movements. You want to do all of that. So now I want to take you back to when you guys were performing that, and when you're hearing this music that's it was written for you guys. Mm-hmm. How did it make you feel? I want to hear about
You sound like Verdine. This is the lecture that I got this morning regarding our songs. The fact that we cranked out maybe 4 or 5 albums within, we were together, I want to say from 1968 to we were falling apart at the end of 72. And so maybe by 73 we were done, but we were cranking out album after album after album. And I don't think that, we on a Honeycomb page, I don't think we've even touched some of those songs that people try to post. We keep doing a lot of repeats, but there are like 5 albums of songs that we did. And I believe Edna was such a great artist. And of course, all that gospel history behind her. And Darlene kept the foot in her butt. And she had to keep up with an older sister that was killing it. And she would get in that studio, crank that out, and then boom, here we come with the vocals. Or sometimes we'd have the vocals first and then to a scratch vocal. And then boom, here we come Edna, and she'd lay it down. And I mean, this is what we did for a living in LA. We were so fast. Right. And these guys had to keep up with us and keep giving us great songs, because anything they threw at us, and they, Lamont, bless his heart, he was used to doing a lot of the Supremes where everything is in unison. Baby love, ooh, all the oohs, everything is in unison, or maybe 2-part harmony. He would try to pull that on us, and Carolyn would get in the studio and go, hey, take the top. Okay, take the top. Take the note. We'd mess that song up so bad, their mouths would be open like, what did they do? What are they doing in there? And we were singing that stuff down like, Edna was usually the bottom and I was the middle. And Carolyn Willis was the best soprano in the industry. There are producers that would change their sessions, wait, or postpone something if they couldn't get Carolyn on the top. She was just that dynamic. But I don't know, in regards to your question, I forgot where we were, but those songs were, whatever they did, a lot of it, we didn't really, it didn't gel with us. It didn't resonate with us right away, but we were powerless to be able to change things the way we wanted to. And which led to Carolyn quitting after a while, because she had all this talent. She was a songwriter. She was an arranger. She did all of Bill Withers' arrangements on his songs. She was the session she was a contractor, and we were so stifled with Honeycomb. You know, it was men everywhere.
Right.
Men with Holland Dozier, men with the producers, men with the engineers and the editors and all of that stuff. That one day she woke up and said, "I can't do this anymore. I feel like I'm in a box. I have a lot more to give." And sure enough, when she quit the Honeycombs and went on her own, she went straight to Seals and Crofts. She did all her arrangements.
Yep.
She toured. She went to Melissa Manchester. She did all her stuff. So Carolyn wasn't having it anymore. She said, and on top of this, I'm tired all the time from touring and I'm broke. So this was a no-brainer for her.
And it's interesting because all of, like I was saying, the words are so, you know, empowering for women. And then to hear that everything was being taken from you, and that you were just told to get out there and just perform.
Yes. But I mean, I knew that going in. That's why I was the holdout. Those girls had to track me down. They found me in Europe. I was in England having a good old time. And they kept calling, going, "Come on, Shelly, you're ruining our chances to be in a group." We didn't even have a name yet. You're ruining our chances. And I said, "Look, go ahead and sign. Take another girl. Take Clyde King. Take Alex Brown. Take what was the other one? Julia Waters. Take anybody. I don't want to sign with people that are like Berry Gordy, because I know what's going to be down the line for us. A lot of stealing and do what I say, and or you'll be replaced." We didn't own the Honeycomb name. That was the first thing. When we disbanded, they got another Honeycomb group with the name Honeycomb. I mean, by then the company was disbanding and they were in trouble financially, and so that second Honeycomb group never made it. But I mean, they could have, because when there's nothing we could do about it. They owned the trademark, they owned everything. So Carolyn was right in leaving. I maybe didn't have the courage that she did, or I wasn't as tired as she was, even though I knew all that stuff going in. She said, "Well, Shelly, you called it in the beginning. You didn't want to sign because of these reasons that," she said, "but I figured they would loosen up with us and change over time, but they're not going to. And I need to get out this job." Right. So Carolyn left. I tried to find some other singers. Chemistry was just gone by then. So, by the time it fell apart, I think I was a little relieved too. Right. Edna, of course, had gotten with the producer. So she went off to do a solo album with him. Mm-hmm. So, that was that.
That's so, but I'm glad that you guys are back together.
Yeah.
And like I said, you have the history and the songs, and I listen to these songs and I listen to the lyrics, and and I get the last right. I told you, you ain't gonna get this honey ever again. It's like, so I love it. You guys, your mark in history is there to stay. Is here to stay rather, and I'm so honored that you guys are here. So, but I do want to know, what do you have? Because I know that there's some new music in the work. I know this much.
Say it again.
Because you guys are working on some new music.
Oh, well, we were fortunate to have a songwriter in our midst here, Kathy and her husband. A song that I think that I said we didn't get to release it properly the way we should have, but it's still, it's still ready for release when the right time comes. Mm-hmm. And we're always going to be working on new music. We're working on putting a show together. Things are a little sketchy because of COVID. So we're just going to, we're going to make sure that by the time we're hired, it's a safe situation. Mm-hmm. And even in studios, people are starting to do that again. But, it'll never be like it was. You're going to get temperature tested. Right. Some want you to come in with a COVID vaccine card. Mm-hmm. Everybody has different rules, but we're going to abide by all of them and work our way back to the stage again. So
I want to see you guys. I know that much.
Thank you.
Guys. So wherever you're at, I'm coming. And if
Thank you.
Closer to Atlanta, I'm definitely going to be there.
Is that where you are?
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta. I'm in Alpharetta. So yeah, that's where I'm at. So it's the music is coming back. Thank God.
Thank God. You sound like Verdine. He's like you girls just don't know how fortunate, in a way, you guys have the real music. He said, if you want, you have 2.5 hours of a show with your own music if you want to. It's just that we like other people's stuff. So I don't know if we could do an hour and a half of just Honeycomb without somebody else, but we could.
Yes, you could. Wait a minute. Yes, you can. My list of songs that you guys have, and I told you I'm going to be in the. I'm going to be the one standing there with the lighter lit going.
The lighter. Well, not the lighter. Yeah. We do a cell phone light now.
Oh, yeah, right. I'm keeping it old school. I have a lighter, Miss Shelly. Oh, that's right. And you know what is it? Girl, it ain't easy. That one gets me going. Let me repeat that. Girl, it ain't easy. It ain't easy. A woman's work is never done. It never stops. We work our fingers to the bone. Our best is never good enough.
That's my favorite song, by the way. Out of everything that we ever recorded, that's my favorite song.
Yeah, because it's telling the truth. It's the truth. We are never, and I'm looking at, we got beauty queens, we got dancers, orchestra, and still somebody will say that is never enough.
Never enough.
It will make you feel like it's not good enough. And I'm like, the world, we are the prize. Women are the prize.
Yeah. I don't know. This is 2021. Women are taking a stand.
That's right. And it's because of lyrics like that to remind, and this is why I have this platform to remind women, you got to go, you need to listen. Don't get fooled by the music and the beats. I want you to hear the lyrics. And I want you to hear your worth. You don't have to put up with some of this stuff. And
did you get a chance to hear Kathy's empowerment song?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's great. It's great, right?
Yes, ma'am. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, this is something that women, we need to hear this. We need to constantly hear this. And these songs were written by men, so they know. And they know.
They know.
And they still know. And these lyrics are relevant now. So that's why I'm keeping it OG with the lighter. So.
And here.
Lighter. I need you guys back. That's right. We go pour some out for the homies. All right.
Pour some out for the homies. There it is. Where's your glass? There it is.
That's right. That's right. And on that note, where are your husbands? Because I want to ask them a question.
Oh, well, Verdine is actually in a meeting outside of the house, which he rarely does. But he's producing the girl on Pose. Her name is MJ Rodriguez. She's is it transsexual? Am I saying that right? She's the star of Pose. It's on Netflix or one of those shows. And
there is. I watched that. That's one of my.
Hey.
Yeah, I love it.
Wait a minute. And the voguing and all of that, right? Well, he's been producing her for the last 3 years or so, but they're ready to do her video. So I don't know if you remember the guy, director Rashidi. That's all I can remember his first name, Rashidi Natiri, something like that. He's very good.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Okay.
Rashidi.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. I know.
He's at a luncheon right now with Rashidi. But I can answer on his behalf. However,
I want your husbands to understand, and I want them to know. I want them to answer this question: do they realize that they are married to superstars, to legends?
Oh.
Aww.
I know.
Okay.
They know, huh? They know.
I think Mom's outside. He decided to go out and work outside in the garden and stuff. But I don't know. He always says,
Oh, Rome knows.
so lucky and blessed. And I'm like, no, me. I feel lucky and blessed. So, yeah, we know we're, good together is good together. You know when it's good, and you just don't want it to end. So we know.
Right.
Yeah.
First. Yes.
And what about John?
Oh, well, John is not feeling well. He's been struggling with vertigo for the last night.
Oh, okay.
No, I meant, what does he feel about you? I mean,
that's what I was saying. We see the value in each other. Definitely. He's my king and I'm his queen.
Oh, hello now. Come on now.
and Berdine is just straight terrified. So he knows what he's dealing with over here.
Leo, okay. Come on now.
He's like, the best answer in this house is yes, dear. Happy life, happy wife, happy life.
I have to say this, before COVID, we were getting together, at least once a week to rehearse and, chop it up and have salad. You make the best salads and have the best wine. And so, I always admire how you guys love each other and how you look at each other and how you care for him and how he cares for you. You okay, honey? You all right, babe? You okay? Then Shelly, you okay? You need anything? And then
Wait. Am I in trouble? Am I in trouble? Did I do anything?
That is vitamins right there, all the stuff. And I'm like, dude, why are you taking so many vitamins? You stay super healthy. And I'm like, I don't want to be like you when I grow up. All the rest of the Shelly makes sure that he is on the ball.
That's right.
I love you guys together.
Thank you.
Very true.
Thank you.
Very, very true. So,
hey.
Answer to the climb.
I know, right? It's the answer.
okay. Well, ladies, I'm telling you, this is from this fangirl to each one of you. It has been such an honor to speak with you and just have this girl time. And let you know how much I admire each and every one of you. And I'm so, so happy to share this earth with you guys. I want you to know.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I feel so blessed to be around. I mean, how are you going to get that? I mean, they're both a triple threat. Right? In some cases, quadruple threat. Right. We have everything. I mean, it's from when I pray to God, just please send me someone who's, I had a long list, talented, pretty, nice, spiritual. I mean, it was answered. It was just answered. So, we give thanks to God that we answered each other's, prayer in a way.
I definitely sure. I got my tissue. Wait a minute. I got my tissue and I'm getting ready to start crying. You know that, right?
I definitely believe it was kismet because so many parallel situations that crisscross that it's like we're supposed to be here. We're supposed to come together. And when we get together, the reaction that we get from people.
Oh, man. I mean, on the street, right? Having dinner. I mean, people just assume that we're somebody, right? Who are you girls? And then of course we get a lot on our honeycomb page. I know we're winding down now. It's 2:30, almost 2:30.
Oh my God! Okay.
Well, but we get a lot on the page that there would be no Destiny's Child.
That's right.
Girls, they were the originals, and they are keeping the legacy going with the same type of excellence. So I'm really happy and relieved when I see comments like that on the page that we have a level of excellence.
Right, and that's people coming, and that's coming from people's heart. You just don't know, and that's what a lot of people, a lot of artists You need to understand how you impact people who listen to your music. All of the, like you're telling the backstory, but on the flip side of that, how you impacted people's lives. I mean, come on. You've got to feel that love. I want each and every one of you to feel the love that you've given to us. You've given to me. I told you when if I'm going through a breakup with a guy and all I got to do is put on one of these songs and I'm feeling all right. Come on now. And I want, this is something, so it's my opportunity to tell you how much you mean to me. And this is when I start crying because it's like I'm sitting here and I'm looking at each one of you on the computer, and I'm like, and there's me. Oh, it's on I'm like, I'm fangirling right now because I'm like, I listen to your music. I listen to, and I'm sitting here having this girl talk with you guys. And it's just, if the Lord were to take me, I would be all right because I've had this moment. You know that?
Thank you.
I mean that with everything inside of me. And I'm telling you, the tears are just coming. And it means so much to me. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for having us. This has been fun. But we don't get to hear about each other's lives until we do candid interviews like this. Wait. We got Kathy had a group that used to rehearse in an empty swimming pool. What? I was blown away when I heard that one. And Wendy as well. You hear about each other's lives, and Wendy, a flautist who never thought she was going to be singing, and now look, it's like, come on, what?
Okay. You said something a minute ago, Shelly, that I thought that there's another connection that you were away in London when somebody was calling for you to be in a situation that got you to where you are here with Honeycomb. And Kathy called me. We were both away, and she texted me or emailed me in the middle of the night. I'm going, okay, wow. So that connection, that kind of thing.
The separation. We're all calling on each other, right?
Right.
And then these two switched jobs once with the Sounds of the Supremes. One left, the other one came, and they switched jobs, took the other job, and Lace just stuck.
Right.
So our lives have been paralleled and
right. And and I was saying earlier on, I have the worst stage fright when it's performing, but I'm always on stage. I'm always there, and I feel I grew up surrounded by so many artists who are legends. And it, and I just, and when I share stories with my son, and I tell him, like, oh my God, when I was this age, and I worked with these people, but to not want to be in the forefront, but I was always there, so it's amazing. And so we're all connected somehow. Like I said, Edna was just, it was me and Lisa Stone, Rose Stone's daughter, Lisa. And we were the youngest ones in the group, in the choir. And Edna was always so kind to me. So kind to me. And when I became an adult and I realized that she was this legend, and I'm like, Edna? I had no idea. And I hate that I did not get a chance to interview her because I have this list, like I told you, the list of people that I wanted to interview.
You got your bucket list.
Yes. And so I am making sure that I get to everyone that I possibly can. And I don't want to wait anymore. And I told you that, Miss Shelly. I don't, tomorrow's not promised. So I'm going to make sure I interview everyone and let them and have this moment with them, So, gosh darn it, you guys have just made me so happy. You really,
thank you,
really have. And again, it's such an honor, and I love each and every one of you. Just continue to be the bright lights that you are. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
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 Thank you.
Okay. Oh my God. Thank you guys so much.
Bye bye. Okay. I'm signing out.
Yes. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.